Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of The Bolt Live with Andy Foreman. I'm your host, Andy Foreman, obviously, and I'm sitting here today with Mr. Parslow, one of the teachers from the Business Academy. You teach the technical side of it, right?
I do. I teach the digital art side of the academy, which includes our graphic design class, mobile apps design class, and our now new this year video gaming design class.
Yeah, and then you and Strikula are the ones that form the whole
Mrs. Strikula teaches the business classes, and I'm on the digital side, so we're a two-person team over there.
Cool. Well, I brought you in here today because I know you're a huge fan of The Walking Dead.
Huge fan, yes,
and
we talk about it all the time.
Yeah, and we were going to review the brand new show, Fear the Walking Dead, which is the spin-off of it.
Yes.
But I wanted to get into a little something first. As I was watching this show, I noticed they had one of those commercials, those really disturbing anti-smoking commercials, where it's like, my name is Bill and I used to be a smoker. You know those ones that they're always showing?
I think a little bit, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
And they're like, they show all the horrible things that have happened to them. And I'm watching this going like, my God, this is more disturbing than the show. Like, because all we do is campaigns of awareness. And everybody knows not to smoke. You know, everybody is aware that smoking is bad for you.
Right.
So I'm watching this going, why do we need this? Why do I need to see this horrible situation put on my television? Like, the show is rated TV mature. And, like, you have kids, right?
I do have kids, yes.
You wouldn't let them watch The Walking Dead, right?
Oh, not even close. No,
Yeah.
I would not.
But they'll show on Nickelodeon this anti-smoking ad, which is far scarier than anything that would be put on The Walking Dead. I don't get where this comes from.
That's very. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. My kids watch Nickelodeon quite a bit, and sometimes my eyes get a little bit wide when I see what they're watching.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes as I tell people, sometimes you have to show the harsh truth of things to get the point across. But sometimes that's a little bit too harsh on some of the things we get, especially with that campaign.
I was watching this like, my God, this is terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
But getting into The Walking Dead, now that we got that out of the way, did you like the intro to this show, the first few episodes?
You're talking about the Fear of the Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was really intrigued by this show when the idea came out last year because, when The Walking Dead came out, we kind of went straight from Rick waking up from his dream to this whole new world, but we really didn't know what happened in between. And so what I love about this show is that you get to find out from the beginning how it happened, why it happened, and just kind of the chaos that slowly builds from what takes place. So I'm all over this show. This is something I've been looking forward to for a while now.
Yeah, I should say that I haven't watched The Walking Dead since the beginning of season 4.
Okay.
Only because I used to love this franchise. I was all over the comics, the novels, the video games, and the show. I was super into it. And then, like, mid-season 3, season 4, I could not watch it. Like, I've dropped off the comics and the show, too, because I thought it was just the same thing over and over again. And, with the Flash and Arrow, and there's only so much time in the day. But when I heard about Fear the Walking Dead, I was like, oh, something that might interest me in The Walking Dead.
Well, it's funny what you say, because the last 2 seasons of The Walking Dead, I've kind of gotten a little bit bored by it, just because I feel like it's the same thing we're seeing. They're running, zombies are coming out of the woods in Georgia, and it just feels like it's kind of the same thing. And I kind of feel like Fear the Walking Dead is kind of re-energizing my love for the show. So like I said, I'm excited for this show, especially, and it takes place in LA, so it kind of gives it a home feel to it, because even though we're just outside of LA, some of the neighborhoods they've shown inside the show so far could be neighborhoods you would see in Covina or Glendora. So so it kind of gives it a creepier feel that, oh wow, this could really happen here.
Well, when I watch this show, I almost try to put out of my mind that it's even related to The Walking Dead. Just not that I don't like The Walking Dead. I put it because I want to watch it on its own as its own show.
Right.
Like, although there are some hints, like when they're going over the radio and there's been a police shooting. I'm like, oh, was that Rick?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Because I've watched the first 2 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, and to me it's getting back to what I loved about The Walking Dead.
Right.
back, like suspenseful. I mean, the characters on the show are not as well written as the regulars. Like, this is very clearly Walking Dead light.
Right.
Yeah, whereas the show, Walking Dead is led by the story. I believe this show it's led by the story and the characters. This show, I believe, is led purely by the story.
I think you're saying it perfectly, because what got me actually into The Walking Dead was not my love for zombies, because actually I can't stand the thought of zombies, but it was the characters with Rick and the whole group there. That's what got me into it. I'm not as much into the group of characters here so far. I'm not really attached to them. But I think what you said was perfectly. It's the story. The story just is just so intriguing on how it just starts off so normal in the first episode, as well. Just a bunch of people have the flu right now, and it's turned into mass chaos. And I've seen the first 3 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, so I can tell you there's a clear change between episode 1 and episode 3. So, and of course it will get worse. So.
Well, I was watching this, and there was the part where they're finding out about the flu, and they said maybe we should go to the desert and hang out. And I thought I think that's the first really smart decision anybody on The Walking Dead has ever made.
That's very true.
But then later in the episode, they're in the school, like the woman with that student, and then the zombie comes out. And she's like, what's going on? And she like tries to hold his shoulders. And I get that she doesn't know what a zombie is, but if you see a guy with his jaw hanging off and he's got scratch marks down his face and yellow eyes and he's like bleeding, like I would run. Well,
in watching The Walking Dead now, they're obviously all experts on how to get rid of the zombies, obviously to go for the head. But, obviously it's very weird watching Fear the Walking Dead right now, because they don't know what to do. They don't know where to aim. They don't know... like you said, they're just trying to push them away almost, not even trying to terminate them. So that's what makes this show interesting right now, is that they have no clue what to do with this flu that's gone bad. So in a sense.
I love that they said, like, oh, the cops shot someone 100 times or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, that sounds like the LAPD.
Well, but I think what's interesting is obviously that's a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Is police brutality and the police going too far, and to be honest, and I was telling my wife this, we both watched the show, is honestly, if this were to really happen in today's world, I think a lot of us would believe that maybe it's some sort of police brutality, because it looks, you see it in episode 1, why are the police accidentally shooting or not accidentally, they're purposely shooting at an innocent person that it looks like from a distance. So, it is an interesting. I think a lot of people today, if this were really happening, would probably fall for that. That the police are really going after somebody like that.
Yeah. Well, they had that scene in the second episode where the crowd and they're like, "Go back if you don't want to get arrested," and they're like, "Why?" And I'm going like, "Well." This was clearly written in the last 10 months. You know what I mean?
That's right.
This is very clearly.
But that grabs everyone's attention. I mean, like I said, it's a hot topic today with our society, and so that's really something that, like I said, I think is gripping the viewer of the show. Is that what we think is going on, but not really taking place.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was scared about with this show is I don't know if you remember. Back in season breaks between The Walking Dead, they would do those little web shows.
Yes.
Like those 6-episode web series. Like they would give the origin of the bicycle girl or whatever.
Yes.
And they were always so poorly done and so, they were always like the dialogue was so bad and everything was just such leftovers from The Walking Dead. So I was so afraid that Fear the Walking Dead was going to be just leftovers. Yeah. Like whatever they left. But I think they've really got like a clear vision and some effort put into this show.
I think so too. I agree.
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot more, and I'm like a classic zombie fan, like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, the Romero stuff. And I'm watching this going like, this is actually paying homage to a lot of this. Yeah. I enjoy it.
Well, and I think what's gotten me into it is, for whatever reason, I'm into shows or movies that have the end of the world in it, and not that I'm going for the end of the world, because I obviously don't want that, but. Like, for example, my first movie that I really watched that had to do with the world ending was Outbreak, when that virus came out and, oh no, the town's in trouble. And but And so when I first started watching The Walking Dead, I was like, zombies? I don't like zombies.
Yeah.
But I got into it because it was a world that has changed, and it was about survival because of the zombies that have kind of taken over it. So yeah, like I said.
I always love those end of the world things because it always shows how people react and stuff. It's always fun.
Right.
But yeah, if you want a good end of the world zombie, watch 28 Days Later.
I've seen that. I have seen 28 Days Later.
It's so good.
Yes.
And that thing is The Walking Dead.
It is.
He wakes up from a coma, he walks around, he has no idea what's going on, and then some people attack him. I think this came before The Walking Dead, and I think it's better than The Walking Dead. That's so true. But yeah.
The one zombie movie I had trouble with was I Am Legend with Will Smith because the zombies are so much more fierce and fast in that movie where, in The Walking Dead, they're just kind of stumbling on their feet and they're very, very slow. But yeah, I've grown to watch a few more zombie movies like you said, 28 Days Later, and I Am Legend. So.
But yeah, I Am Legend. In the book, they were actually originally vampires.
Oh, I did not know that.
And it was like an outbreak of vampires, and that's why in the movie they can only come out at night. And I was watching this going like, they turned this into a zombie movie. I mean, that book is my favorite book of all time, ever. I love it. Okay. And it is like, I still get creeped out from that book today. It is like psychologically disturbing, like the way this guy deals with the end of the world. Okay. So I was watching I Am Legend going like, well, if this was R-rated, this would be good.
Yeah.
Because they had Will Smith in it, who is a very good actor.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, if this was R-rated, if this was The Walking Dead level, like of gore and like way they deal with it.
Well, and the movie creeps me out. Yeah. Like especially now that you mentioned the night scenes, that makes sense that it was supposed to be a vampire concept because when they would hit the night scenes in that movie, that was just creepy.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
Would you like to see the cast of Fear the Walking Dead meet the cast of The Walking Dead, like in a crossover episode?
It would be interesting because it's two different societies. You've got like the Rush Society of LA that's very go, 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 and then you've got the society back east and outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It would be interesting to have the two casts meet. That would be.
It would be.
It would be interesting. It'd be interesting to see who the leader of the two groups would be, and if there would be a power struggle. And that would be interesting because I'm not so sure in Fear of the Walking Dead yet. We really have a true leader.
Yeah.
It could be Travis, but I think we're still kind of waiting to see who's going to be the leader of this group.
Yeah. The only problem is it would spoil Fear the Walking Dead because you'd see who's alive and who's dead, and you'd be like, oh,
it definitely would.
Oh crap! I don't know how long they can keep this show going without it becoming exactly like The Walking Dead. But
that's a very good point, though. I'm kind of getting worried about how much further The Walking Dead's going to go, and I haven't read the comics, so I don't know. Where where it takes the story, but I know with The Walking Dead, I feel like it's got to get something going because I know, as I said earlier in the podcast, I'm getting a little bored with the show just because it just feels like the same thing over and over again. So. But I think that's why I'm re-energized now watching Fear the Walking Dead is because this is a whole new story. So
I will say this: I saw for season 6 they just cast a character named Negan. Okay. And if you've read the comics, you know what's coming.
Oh wow! Okay.
All I'll say is baseball bat with barbed wire on it. That's all I'm gonna say. And it is, and characters you love meet that baseball bat. So it is
okay.
I remember reading it's issue 100 of the comic, I believe. I was reading it in the car on the way home from the comic book store, going like, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh gosh.
I mean, this was clearly a long time ago because I was still really into The Walking Dead.
Okay.
But
now I'm intrigued by that. I'm intrigued about this group that's coming in. I think they're is it the Wolves? You'll have to help me.
The Hunters.
The Hunters, yeah, something like that. This group that's coming in that's going to clash with Rick and the group, so that should be interesting too.
Yeah, see, I just got caught up in like Flash and True Detective and Arrow, and I just haven't.
Okay.
But Fear the Walking Dead has brought me back on. And,
awesome.
Thank you for helping me review it. It's been really fun. Yeah.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
We will definitely have to have you back on when the season is over or something, so we can recap and see how.
Sounds great, and I'd love to talk about it with anybody that wants to talk about it. So yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so visit Parslow's room if you're like freaked out about
E3, yes.
Yes. And thank you everyone for listening. I'm Andy Foreman. This has been The Bolt Live, and visit theboltlive.com for exclusive content. Sorry. Thank you everyone, and I'll see you next time.